you're set apart, which means that you are set apart for distinctly for God's usage. Okay, this sounds more glamorous than it actually can feel at times, if I can be honest. But truthfully, though, the process that God allows us to go through, it is different, especially with those of your family members, people that you know. A lot of people don't typically understand, especially at first, what God is doing in your life. But you find yourself going through challenges, right? You find yourself constantly being tested. You're battling spiritual warfare. You're always, in it almost feels like there's seasons where you're always in the ring. But that is a part of God strengthening you, right? You got to look at it as though God is bringing out what he's put inside of you. So what that means, I'm going to use myself as an example. There were gifts that God has given me that were laying dormant inside of me that I didn't even know that I had until earlier this year, until he actually was like, okay, now put this to work. And it wasn't a matter of like, I had to go through some rough process. No, like I just began to walk in what I knew God was telling me to do. And I was doing it. And I was like, I didn't even know this about myself, right? This whole time, I'm walking around with gifts. I have, a set of skills or abilities, right, that is useful for others or God intended to use that I didn't even know that I had. Likewise, you have gifts and talents and abilities that God doesn't just want us to sit on. He gives you the gift ultimately so that he can show you how to steward it, that he will train you in a sense in that gift and what he intends for you to use for that gift. And it's for the edification of people, right? To help people, to serve people in some capacity. And so the next time you feel like, this whole walk is not what it was supposed to be, what is it's people say it is, right? We talk about being set apart. That sounds special, right? But it's hard, right? It's hard. It's a lot of work. I talked about stretching in my previous video. We go through this process for God's glory, right? To ultimately live the abundant life that Jesus has died for us to live, but to ultimately live a life in service, right, to God, right, to truly say we serve God and we serve his people, right? And so I don't want anybody to feel discouraged along the walk, because there's seasons of isolation, there's seasons of pruning, there's hills and valleys, right? Just there's life in general, right? You got bills, you got, kids, you got stuff to deal with while you're walking with God. And so a lot of times we're just like mentally like, what's the purpose of this, right? Why, does God call certain people out to do this? And, knowing it would be hard. It's because God is growing you deeper in relationship with him, right? He's showing you things, like I said, about yourself that you didn't even know that was about yourself, right? That you didn't even know you had. You didn't even know that you could do. You didn't even know that you could impact people the way that God is showing you that you're impacting people. So I hope this message could encourage somebody, because set apart, this is something you go through life. I'm getting the gist now, right? Even when you think that you're going to move your own way, it's like God comes back around and snatches you up out. Okay, you can't get too far away. Like, even if you went down this path, you're not going to get too far away, right, before God pulls you back. So just take solace in the fact of knowing that, you are where God has you, right? It can be isolating. It can be tough. It can be trying, but you're where God has you, right? Right where he has you. So I hope this message can help somebody, and I'll see y'all in my next video.